What I best like about my job is the variety, both in view of the performed activities and meeting new people, becoming acquainted with the limitations, overcoming the barriers. In other words, working with another person and seeing how people can develop. The most rewarding moments on the job are when I and the client have the feeling that we are going in the right direction. Yes, that's it. I enjoy the surprise when someone has been successful, when someone has found his or her place, because sometimes you have to cover a long way to get there. What I like best is that fact that I work with another person, a person whom I can help make his or her dreams come true. Actually, quite simple dreams, because they mean living fully in society and developing one's career. I enjoy staying in contact with other people because I'm the kind of person who feels uneasy without people around. Supported employment. There has been a growing section of our society appearing in the labor market, namely people with disabilities. It is with them in mind that the concept of supported employment has been implemented in Poland for some dozen years now. In its essence, supported employment facilitates access to and maintaining of paid employment in the open labor market. It is thanks to the assistance of job coaches that individuals with disabilities can reach such goals as financial independence, establishing new social and professional contacts, testing their capacities, and making their dreams come true. Job coaches are essentially guarantors of a successful process of finding and keeping a job, while at the same time they provide assistance to all the parties of the supported employment process, people with disabilities, their families, and employers. Who is a job coach? A person who would like to become a job coach needs to first of all display such personality traits that would make him or her suitable for the job. For instance, empathy, high social interaction skills, and communication skills as well. Besides, they also require some marketing skills so as to draw the potential employer's attention to the services of a job coach. Obviously, such a candidate should also have at least some basic knowledge of how people with particular disabilities can operate. What's more, experience in the labor market is important too. The individuals who help to look for jobs, find jobs, or to keep them, also themselves need to have different skills, quite varied, as the jobs they deal with vary from a cleaner to a gardener, to someone working at a reception desk, in an office, or possibly a public office. In this job, you also need to be entrepreneurial. Job coaches are people strongly committed to their duties and often emotionally bonded with the people with disabilities they support, so that they will never leave anyone at their workplace without an appropriate training or without making sure that the individual feels at ease with the job. For me, my coach is just that kind of a supporting person. I always know that if I have, let's say, a problem, if something new crops out, I can always phone her and then she will either give me some instruction on the phone or will come to see me if she has the time. I always feel secure knowing that she's somewhere on alert. I've met several job coaches and they have all struck me first of all as very warm and extremely patient individuals who enjoy their work. I guess this is something you need in this job, to be really wanting to do it, to want to support people with disabilities to get used to their new workplace. He's very nice, friendly, loyal to me and all the other people with disabilities. I appreciate him very much and I'm thankful to him that he has in general helped me get here, and well, that thanks the Lord there is work and that one can be happy thanks to it. My first task was to recruit coaches and to create a coach team. Also, due to my experience, I provided them with factual advice in the event of problems or any doubts regarding work or working methods. What matters is that you simply talk to one another in the team, that if there are any problems, you can all act as one big brain. Everyone can contribute, and like this, you can get some kind of a new perspective. That's when it is very helpful. In this job, you can see clearly that one can't deal with everything on one's own. Yes, a team plays an important role, and it is essential to cooperate with different sorts of specialists. Well, disability as such is a wide discipline, and it can require really different sorts of assistance. At one point, you might simply need to consult a specialist from an appropriate center. The team of coaches I work with on a daily basis is very numerous. Each of us is different. We all have different traits, different characters, so we as if complement one another. However, we are all essentially creative and willing to act, take up various challenges, though feeling very humble in view of life and work. Supported employment process. Client engagement. This stage covers the recruitment of individuals to participate in supported employment programs, collection of information on the candidate's profile, assessment of his or her capacities, and agreeing on the cooperation rules in the activation process. The stage concludes with signing a contract with the client. This first stage of commitment consists first of all in, or should I say what I consider as most important, that it consists in finding out as much as possible about the person, that is the client. You first need to learn what they enjoy doing, what they don't, what interests they have, and next, on the ground of this information, I try to adjust future training for those interests. For it is not a big deal to send someone for training where they will not feel at ease, where they will find the work hard. An important element of supported employment is to be seen in the people around and the family. In many a case, it depends on them whether the employment is a success. I'm sure that I wouldn't have coped with this kind of labor market as here by myself, without the support of the center, without the support of the psychologists. I'm sure we would both be sitting at home and I would be most likely crying as a parent, seeing her daughter so totally dependent on me. I was really far away from getting to this point, so I think it's great. First of all, the feeling that she's worth something, that her work is needed. Myself as a parent cannot interfere with her professional everyday routine. That's why the coach is so badly needed. There is nothing you should fear, quite simply because if you fail, that means no end to the world. You can try again. After all, that's what adulthood is about. Vocational profiling. This stage consists in diagnosing, together with the client, his or her potential and a conscious choice of a career. It is to be helped by practical workshops, in other words, job sampling. The main goal of such assistance is to develop the client's skill of defining his or her strong and weak points.
Ania, what are we doing next? We've had the last ride at the library. Did you like it? Not really. Tiring? Yes. And the shop with paint? I didn't like it. You don't like cleaning, do you? So where shall we sample next? A kitchen? We could see. Helping with the cooking or something easier? Easier. Maybe washing up? I can try. I'm not sure I can cope.
The job sampling has demonstrated that with people with disabilities, certain skills still need to be improved. That sometimes it seems to us that we would like to be doing a certain job. When we confront a given activity with doing it, however, for a longer time, it turns out it is not really what we would like. An accurate diagnosis helps a better selection of a workplace. In this respect, we don't look at a disability type, but at the potential and capacities of the person with a given disability. Thanks to that, we can concentrate on the strong points that will facilitate performing tasks at work. For example, Antoni had never worked before, but had sorted recyclable waste, off-site, just to make a few pennies. And I knew that waste sorting would be a place where Antoni could not only overcome his barriers in social interaction, but would also be able to skillfully perform his tasks. Ania claimed she wanted to work with people. That was for sure. Maybe some washing up, some assisting jobs, cleaning, tidying. So we decided that we would come here for the 3 days of job sampling for her to try, see and judge. If it was to be okay, we would try the training. And that's exactly what happened. However, after the first day, Ania already said, "It's great here." And the team really gave her a wonderful welcome. I had a feeling that after the first 3 days, Ania felt a member of the team. We stayed for the training, after which she signed the employment contract. Helpful in creating career profiles are also group workshops developing the confidence within the labor market. I'd like you to form groups of 4. One group will act as an employee, the other as an employer, while the third group will watch. You want to employ someone. If so, what would you consider to be important? Tomek, you run your own business, and you want to employ someone. If so, what would you ask that person? Now you are in turn going for a meeting with an employer. You're wondering whether to take the job or not. What questions would you ask the employer? What doubts would you have? Yes, think of what would matter to you as employees. These are the situations you've already been through. You're actually going to have such a meeting tomorrow, so maybe this could help you. What questions would you like to ask? It'll be the final talk. Exactly. But you can use today's workshop and try these questions, Piotr. Etap trzeci.
Job finding.
This stage covers, among others, the support provided to the client in creating application documents, identifying potential employment, organizing training and vocational placement. I've looked through the CV you've prepared yourself, and I suggest we introduce some changes today. Maybe put the things a little bit in an order, because, you know, it's a kind of your brand that you present to the employer. And it will depend on the CV, whether the employer invites you for an interview. So it makes sense to spend a moment on making it clearer and more transparent. Here is your CV that you had before, and here is a template that I would like you to see to realize that the same information can be presented differently. As our working model is support, not doing things for you, I'll ask you in a minute to change your CV on the laptop yourself. Okay? So here we go.
Proszę bardzo.
Now it's all clearer. Yes, the point is that all this has to be well arranged because, you know, in some companies there are lots of CVs and the employer can sometimes decide at one glance whether to spend a moment reading it or they will not spare that moment and you've missed your chance.
Albo jej nie poświęci i można stracić tą szansę.
A job coach is just something wonderful for people with disabilities. For example, when it comes to preparing a CV, when the CV is neat, professional, prepared as it should be, the employer looks at it differently. If the employee wants to talk to the employer, if the employee simply comes, looks around and says he or she likes it here, that they would like to work here, they show the kind of skills they have. Well, today in order to get a job, you need to know how to sell yourself. While seeking jobs, job coaches establish contacts with employers. They analyze the labor market, looking for attractive offers in press and online, while also using their private contacts. In Świniary they only have geldings, so they can hardly be ridden, and they hold hippotherapy there, so people do have to do with individuals with disabilities, and I suspect that they would be willing to cooperate with us. All we'd need to do would be simply to go there. It's true that it's far, as you can get there by one bus only, so shall we all three go? Of course, we can go, let's go. Contacts between a job coach and a client are based on mutual trust and full responsibility throughout the supported employment process. Tomasz and I met just over a year ago. I listened to him when he spoke about his plans, what he would like to do, and two such options cropped up. One close to office work, being an archivist, to be more precise, and the other connected with looking after the elderly. I work with some people with Down syndrome. What I was impressed by was how sincere, straightforward they are. I enjoy this job every day. With the coach, we've been working all the time on the backup plan as my contract is terminating, so that I could be able to operate in the labor market independently, so that I could find my way around there. Good relations and a successful process of getting employment per person with a disability have a positive impact on the person's self-esteem. During the support group today, I mentioned Staszek, who had a job at McDonald's, that when he came back with the contract and this news, he said, "Aneta, when I was giving the contract, I felt that someone needed me." And that sparkle in his eyes. His face became more joyful. It was no longer dull, but full of energy. I have a feeling that they too transfer the energy to us from the work, which can sometimes be difficult for them too. Employer engagement. A direct contact with the employers is meant to encourage them to employ a person with a disability on a specified position. The job coach supports the employer by finding appropriate employees and by preparing them for a definite job. One of the tasks of job coaches was to encourage employers both to employ definite people and to carry out project tasks in their businesses, such as job sampling or longer, over a fortnight-long training, meant to prepare people with disabilities to perform specific tasks. When talking to an employer, what matters is the first contact, creating a kind of a warm, positive relationship. For it's a new situation for the employer too, and it's certainly also stressful. So we need to make sure that we don't give the employer any reason to feel nervous, stressed, and that they wouldn't be scared to take a risk. The main thing is not to let them send the coach away empty-handed. It's to make them give us a chance maybe of only one day job sampling. This is usually followed by a later training. At first I wasn't very eager to do that, though the ladies really insisted. They would come and return with those people. They would come here to have a cake, they would talk, and later suggested to see what it would look like, and if I weren't pleased, it would be no problem. Like this, slowly, gradually, we reached some agreement. The employer was skeptical about people with disabilities because he had never had any direct interaction with them. But later, slowly, step by step, he decided it was worth it. Now he even wants to promote our coaches here in our labor market and wants to be convincing other employers to give jobs to people with disabilities and for coaches to operate as well. There are 41 people here at the workshops. 2/3 of them could easily attend training. They often catch me passing in the hall and ask, "Eva, how about me? When shall I be going?" The point is that here we have a very small town. The majority of businesses are family ones, when a husband and wife work alternately. There are no factories here, we have no large companies or warehouses where they could work, hence the problem. Well, we can always find something for training in order to activate them, as people with disabilities feel much stronger then, they have more self-esteem. And then you can see that they are happier, that they really enjoy it. The trouble is we simply have a limited number of available jobs. They come for a trial, just for several hours to start with, then for a day or two in order to see whether this kind of work suits them. Then they are here on probation, after which we just sign a contract, usually for 3 months. Throughout the whole period of job sampling, trainings and all those activities I've had the opportunity to carry out with Krzysztof, each stage was important in the sense that it provided additional information on him. Also, the employer followed Krzysztof, considering whether he would be the right person in his company. And we did it! Krzysztof got the job and has been working for MAAN to his employer's satisfaction. This is a normal routine, and it has proved effective. The great advantage is that there is not only one such person working here, not even two, but a whole group of people with disabilities. They complement and support one another. Yes, it's true, they formed a kind of a group, and they feel great about it. Earlier, I had been in touch with another restaurant where I found employment for a girl. That was a success, so we proved there it could work. After that, I was invited to have a talk here. I told the manageress how it all works, how our clients perform tasks on different positions. I also told her what kinds of jobs suit them best, and we gave it a try. It all began with simple job sampling, which later turned into training, this subsequently resulting in employment. It's quite clear that if someone has not employed people with disabilities before, they have many doubts. But I believe I could answer most of the questions in such a way that the employer felt safe. What is more, as a job coach, I promised I would support both the employer and the client. At the stage when they prepare the employee, job coaches are priceless. The coaches support knowledge, skills, communication skills, and sharing information on how to communicate with such a person cannot be overestimated. At first, Miłek did come with the coach. Joanna would do with him all the jobs that were demonstrated by a gentleman who worked on a similar position. So they would be doing the work among the three of them. After some time, it turned out that Miłek could be doing the work by himself. The job coach was also with Miłek when the contract was signed, after which she would come actually more often to see us, as if to check if everything was okay, whether Miłek was feeling okay on the job. This cooperation developed really well, but now I think only occasional contact is needed. Etap 5. On and off the job support. Only as much support as it is essential. As much independence and autonomy as possible. Staszek, there is a suggestion that you may now work with the chips. What do you think? I'll think about it, you know. I can't make such a decision straight away. What's stopping you? Why don't you want to do that? I don't know if I can cope. Why do you think it is so? I don't know. I just don't have the confidence. That's why I'm worried. How long have you been working? Since July. So how many months is it since July? It's already several months, isn't it? 6 months? You've been performing your tasks very well, so this would be a bit like getting higher qualifications if you started making the chips. Oh well, okay, maybe I can try. It is thanks to customized support of job coaches that people with disabilities are confident about entering the labor market and get to know paid employment not just in theory, but in real life. By working, people with disabilities do not only satisfy their economic, but also social needs. One of my clients who has big interaction problems and fears people didn't know how and whom to ask for a day off. She needed one and subsequently became so stressed with the situation that she started having difficulties with performing her tasks at work. The first thing I did was to explain to the client how to go about such problems, who to address, what the hierarchy at work is, and I said that I would do it this time for her, but wanted her to be present while I was talking to the right people people about it, so that the next time she would know who to talk to, and that's nothing terrible because she's a full right employee and she simply has the right to have a holiday. Sometimes you also have to help in personal matters, in a delicate way obviously, but at the same time you cannot be simply an impersonal guidance, but a person who is able to talk, to understand the other individual, meaning both the person with a disability but also possibly the employer too. A systematic support of job coaches is extremely important in the whole process of getting a job and then keeping it. Their role is enormous, first of all, so that the participant does not lose motivation to continue working, because sometimes there are actually relatively small problems which can be sorted out and eliminated with one little change, with a single move only. The point is that he's totally unable to grasp what needs doing, and every day the same needs doing. There is some kind of a scheme, but if he were today on his own, it would be a disaster. I worry that after the month's probation, they'll simply want to see him. But you know what you can do? You can come half an hour after he starts work, or maybe you can finish half an hour before he finishes. Job coach being the central figure in the supported employment is a very good idea, particularly for people with an intellectual disability. Quite simply because they could make great employees, yet they require going with them through the tasks allocated to a given position. The key to a success of a person with a disability in the labour market is to be found in a perfectly selected activities. Well chosen, meaning appropriate to their capacities, but also meeting their expectations. My experience tells me that in order to be successful with employing a person with a disability, understood as keeping and securing employment by a person with a disability, we actually have all the parties satisfied with the arrangement, don't we? Thus, we have the person with a disability as the employee, the employer is a person who also benefits from employing someone, plus there is this additional element, extremely important in my view, that is the family, who are also very happy. The major concern of the parents or carers was that their grown-up son or daughter would simply not cope in the labour market, that they are unprepared to go to work, and that they would most likely never grow ready for that. After supported employment had become more spoken of, together with instructors we organized a meeting for parents in Białystok, during which we showed films on supported employment, what it actually is, who a job coach is, as these were totally new concepts to the parents. The film was inevitably followed by a debate. Parents were asking questions, some were positive about the whole idea, others not. But what mattered most was the fact that they became acquainted with these notions and knew where we as a workshop were heading. I guess that for such programs as job coaching to be effective, the vocational therapy should be started even earlier at such centers as ours, that is, occupational therapy workshops. Certain documents have to be created, participants' motivation needs to be surveyed, we need to talk to parents, make them realize what supported employment is about, we need to organize trainings. Once we see that an individual is successful, such a person should from then on be supported by a job coach. I believe a coach finds this job satisfying because we get to know different environments and therefore wonderful people. Additionally, if a participant gets a job, if his or her job is secured, we can see the effects of our work. This is extremely important in therapeutical work, to see the results. So I think that you don't really need to be an extraordinary person. Well, maybe ordinary and extraordinary, that's how I would put it.
Publikacje pod tytułem Wytyczne dotyczące świadczenia usług przez trenera pracy można znaleźć w następujących miejscach. Państwowy Fundusz Rehabilitacji Osób Niepełnosprawnych z siedzibą w Warszawie przy Alei Jana Pawła II 13, www.pefron.org.pl, www.trenerpracy.eu, telefon 22 505 55 60. Polskie Forum Osób Niepełnosprawnych z siedzibą w Warszawie przy ulicy Bitwy Warszawskiej 1920 roku 10, www.pfon.org, telefon 22 654 19 28. Polska Organizacja Pracodawców Osób Niepełnosprawnych z siedzibą w Warszawie przy ulicy Szpitalnej 6, lokal 18-19, www.popon.pl, telefon 22 620 3202. Projekt innowacyjny testujący z komponentem ponadnarodowym pod tytułem Trener pracy jako sposób na zwiększenie zatrudnienia osób niepełnosprawnych, realizowany w ramach programu operacyjnego Kapitał Ludzki, priorytetu 1, Zatrudnienie i integracja społeczna, działania 1.3, ogólnopolskie programy integracji i aktywizacji zawodowej, poddziałania 1.3.6, PEFRON, projekty systemowe. Okres realizacji od 31 grudnia 2012 roku do 31 marca 2015 roku. Lider Państwowy Fundusz Rehabilitacji Osób Niepełnosprawnych. Partnerzy Polskie Forum Osób Niepełnosprawnych, Polska Organizacja Pracodawców Osób Niepełnosprawnych, a także
CARE Promoting Inclusion for People with Intellectual Disabilities
z Irlandii.